given moment, we have two options: step forwards into growth or step back into safety. Dare to succeed and share a moment with us in the moment. Okay, hi guys. So episode 5. Today we have a special guest joining us. Liz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Salisbury. So I am a PT. I have 2 kids and I am currently pregnant with my 3rd, so please excuse any baby brain. It may crop up quite a lot, so I do apologise, but yeah, so I've been a PT for about 5 years now, so I've seen a lot of stuff, not always good, so yeah, look forward to chatting.
What's made you want to be a PT?
It was actually, I used to be a lot heavier, so you're talking like about 8 stone. So I actually went down the line of wanting to lose weight. Then I kind of became obsessed with it, almost too obsessed. Then started studying everything, put myself through all the qualifications. I've just finished a degree in it last year. So obviously it became part of my life really. So I do in-person clients, online clients. So it's just always been there really. It's not something I thought at high school. If you'd asked me, are you going to be in, PT sports? I'd have been like, no, not at all.
Okay.
So, that's changed.
It completely changed. So yeah.
I guess from a personal point of view, if you're saying you've lost so much weight, how have you changed in managing to keep it off? Do you ever worry about going back?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll admit I've definitely went back and put 2-3 stone back on, but that's through life right now. I've went through a messy divorce and I'm now pregnant, so obviously the weight goes on anyway, but I know how to get off at the end as well, so I'm trying not to worry about it too much. But I think it's just life really. Sometimes I think that's what makes it so good, that I know what people are going through as well, so I can relate to them a little bit more. So hi Stella. So yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't like when mum has the limelight.
He wants in.
When we started recording, literally just then, Pixie decided that she was going to go and do a 360 of the bed. She kept nudging the table that this is on, and then I could hear a little collar tinkering. I was like, for God's sake,
Where is she? Get her on.
She's literally
I've tried.
She is
out
Princess Pixie.
So again, Liz,
I've tried getting her out, and she's like, nope. I'm a girl too. I'm here.
Oh my God, yeah, it's like girl chat. In on it.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic. So today we're going to cover coaching, everything that kind of comes with it. We'll talk about PTing as well, and also red flags for people to potentially look out for when they are on the search for a coach. And I think we'll also maybe touch on our bugbears.
Okay, so just for a bit of transparency, Alice didn't even know what bugbear was.
Yeah, no, I didn't until now. Every day's a school day.
I haven't made it up though, have I? That is a word.
No, you've not made it up. I've heard of it, so you're okay.
Get with the program, Alice.
Just me. Sorry, guys. But no, we'll also touch on as coaches, our bugbears, and things that particularly irritate us. Obviously, this is all our opinions. So, one thing that irritates me might not irritate Liz or Vicky, and vice versa. We are just airing opinions.
Well, everything irritates me. People breathing irritates me.
Me being late irritates you.
Do you know what though? I'm late for loads of things. It's not lateness. I think it's just it's my need for, I guess it's my need for control, in that I need to know where I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah. It makes sense. It does.
Yeah. It's not normally that bad either, but I think post-recovery, because I feel out of control with a lot of parts of my life, that I guess I'm trying to control the bits I can.
Yeah, that makes sense. When my watch buzzed earlier and I saw your logo come up, I was like, I know exactly what she is wanting. It was to do with the podcast, and I opened it and I was like, yep, I knew exactly
what is the crack, what is happening. Yeah. So I know, to sort of like maybe start the conversation, this is something that I guess when I was at my biggest, people have like a perception of coaching in the personal training industry, more so males than they do females, and sort of that testosterone, ego fueled macho man mentality, you know, like that they're right, dominant, that sort of way. Do you two find, sort of in your experiences of actually working with people like that, like PTs, do you feel like people are actually like that in the personal training industry, or is that just a misconception?
What guys? What,
yeah,
like
the lads, more lads than females, I guess. Do you know what I mean? That bulky.
It's not even that. I think it's like, it's really hard to describe, but it's almost like, I guess I feel like the majority of males, like male PTs and male coaches, it's almost like it seems very pushy with what they're putting out there, and it's like, I'm the best, you know, what I do is like the best way to do it. I don't know if that's just my perception, I don't know, but that's how I feel. And like you say, like it is quite like macho, like
dominant.
Yeah,
I would agree. Like I've worked in quite a few gyms, and there's still two guys that I remember from one particular gym, and one was short but he was like massive, and then this other one thought he was untouchable and awesome and could lean over their clients doing bench presses in a dodgy tracksuit and drinking Starbucks over the top of them. So it was like, oh, I'm too good and I'll charge the world for you to work with me. So I definitely agree with Alice on that one. Like some of them are like, they're pushy and they think that they're the best. So.
Yeah, it's something I've seen as well, which I thought was like mind-blowing. I think it was actually in a gym in Glasgow. I can't think what it's called. Well, there was this guy that was like a PT, like to look at him, you wouldn't think he's touched a weight in his life. And he was obviously PTing this girl who was working away. And you know what? He was stood there like that on his phone, texting or messaging or something in the middle of conducting a session. And I was just like, what the fuck?
I knew a PT once that literally didn't count the reps, just stand there and let them sort of get on with it. And then they'd be messaging on their phone, doing stuff while the person's just doing it, and literally they didn't even count the reps. They had no idea.
That's mental.
And they go to the client like, how many you're on.
Yeah, like I've seen that so many times, like that guy with the Starbucks leaning over this lassie trying to bench press. I was like, if she misses, you've not got like a cat and hell chance catching that bar, because you're too busy drinking your Starbucks on your phone and having a great life, but charging a fortune for it. So
yeah. I guess the bit that, like, sometimes it's that I don't know how to describe it without swearing, but you know, the fuckboy mentality.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have met, like, you know, to sort of put balance, I have met a few male PTs that are genuine. I have also met some female PTs that are nasty or unkind people. And I have met some female PTs that are so down to earth, absolutely on it with the programs and working with people. So I'm not being gender stereotypical with either way. Like, there are representations from both genders within this, but I'm just sort of saying what a lot of people's perceptions would be, just to, you know, make it really clear. But yeah, so I guess for me, it's that then they walk around the gym and I probably slept with half the girls that are in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the sleaziness of it. Like, you know, I've been like, when I first started going to the gym when I was like 17, there was a PT there who my dad actually used to go with. And you know, I'd see him occasionally and whatnot, and you get that vibe like from the comments that they make, and you just like, you can just literally walk around this gym and do what the fuck you want, because do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the sleaziness, and it's like, because they're a PT and they're like, they've got this role, it almost, they feel like it gives them the right to act however they want. And
Yeah, car salesman as well, you know, when you go buy a car and they've got like
isn't it? It's totally like that. Yeah.
But like, you wouldn't see a female PT walking around the gym, you know, making comments to guys, would you? Like, you just wouldn't see it.
No, but you would see a female PT maybe wearing more revealing clothes, or not that, you know, I'm not saying that people shouldn't wear them clothes either, but so they might be wearing like a lower cut bra and the skimpiest shorts going, and then maybe like flaunting themselves in a different way, or equally like they could look down at other girls that walk in the gym. Like, I guess it's a similar mentality, but how it manifests is different.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that. I mean, a couple of gyms, it was kind of like what Vicky was saying about the bra and how they kind of look down their nose at other women, but then they're more than happy to go and chat the ears off to any guy that would listen. So it's just how it comes across, really.
I guess maybe because it is like a predominantly male industry, isn't it? Like, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna see a lot more of it.
Yeah, certainly the ones that are more well known. I was just thinking of like James Smith Academy, and maybe they're more male dominated at the top end.
Who's that?
James Smith.
Don't know that.
Yeah, who's that?
Have you heard of
well known?
Oh yeah, no, James Smith is well known. He's done a podcast with Stephen Bartlett. Yeah, you need to listen to it. He's got a really he's very controversial, but I think that was probably more of a ploy to get to the top. It was probably a way of doing it. But he does really, really good like Instagram videos, like explaining sort of fat loss and NEAT and all that lot, like the basics of it. He's released like 2 books around confidence, how to like build confidence. Like, it's really well known. You both need to get on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe look into that. I've never heard of it.
Another one I follow is Scarlett Black. No,
don't know her.
I'm not sure. Maybe if I saw her, I might. Is she on Instagram?
Yeah, I've heard like really mixed things from people's personal experiences with her.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else I follow. So what sort do you mainly like look at local sort of PTs and stuff then?
Not really. Like I have such a mixture of people on mine. Like I've obviously got Alice, I've got Mags as well, and she does all the bikini shows and stuff as well. So mostly it is actually like bodybuilders, powerlifting, crossfitters, anything really. Just takes my fancy.
My Instagram used to be full of CrossFit stuff, like back when I used to do CrossFit, and now I've just like, whenever I see it, I'm like, ugh, CrossFit, unfollow. Because it's like 2 different worlds. Like when I was doing CrossFit, I used to hate bodybuilding and was like, oh my god, that is so unhealthy. Like I could do CrossFit, lift all these weights, and I can go home and smash a pizza. Like,
maybe I'm going into the wrong thing. That sounds good.
CrossFit hurts. It hurts so bad.
Yeah, it hurts.
I don't miss it at all. I really don't. But the thing is with CrossFit, I don't know if it's just because of the environment I was probably in. Like they weren't that asked about their diets and stuff like that. So like whilst you were probably getting fitter, I don't know, like you wouldn't look your best.
Yeah, nutritionally, your body won't get what it needs.
Yeah, I think that, like, there's a couple down here, like, obviously CrossFit gyms, and I think they fall into two categories. You either go there, train really hard, and then eat what the hell you like, you don't really care, or you're so into it and so obsessed. There's not like a healthy in between.
Yeah, no, there isn't. It's actually mad. And it's like CrossFit is like a cult. Like I remember when I joined my CrossFit gym back home, and it literally is like a cult, and you get so stuck into it. Anybody outside of that environment was like aliens, and they didn't understand what you were doing. Like they weren't normal because they weren't doing CrossFit, and it was literally my life and my world. It was a bizarre time.
I find it weird that they all go and listen to a DJ. Like a DJ goes and plays there.
Oh yeah, like
and then everyone works out to a live DJ. It's just weird.
But it's fun, like it's a buzz, like it really is. Like when we used to go away and compete and stuff like that, even just doing like in-house comps, like it was great because we'd get there really early in the morning and you would do like a few hours worth of WODs and stuff, and then you get straight on the booze, and coach would order in loads of pizzas, and you were just but it wasn't really promoting a healthy, sustainable lifestyle unless you are genetically gifted. Then it's a totally different story. But
well, I am not that.
Same.
I don't think any of us are. I'm carrying a watermelon right now. Trust me, it's not gifted.
How does it feel? Does it feel really heavy?
It feels really heavy, and like right at the top, like kind of under your boobs, it's so tight and so hard, so you can't even like bend down to put your own socks and shoes on. So Chris has had to be putting my socks and shoes on every day because I'm like not having them. I can't bend down. No.
I swear anybody I know that gets pregnant or talks about the birth or having a young child or any of that, it just puts me off having a baby. Absolutely puts me off. Couldn't imagine anything worse.
What did we talk about in our last episode?
I don't know.
Did you watch it, Liz?
I haven't watched that one yet. I got to number 3 and then I kind of zonked to sleep. So I was like, I need the next one.
I wonder if it's the one that's coming out tomorrow.
Which one?
We spoke about giving birth and pooing yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does that happen?
It does happen to some women. Touch wood, it's not happened to me, so I'm good. But
my mum said that she shat on me. And I'm pretty sure that I saw, is it Molly May? She said that when she was giving birth, she could smell her own shit. Yeah. And we actually covered this last night.
Wow.
I was wrong. Well, we ticked off talking about shit and arse problems to a certain degree.
There you go. I've helped you tick off. It's good.
Yeah, we've got all this to look forward to.
So I guess in terms of like the coaching side of things, then what would be your two, like what for you two, like what is the expectation you'd have of people when they sign your coaching?
What expectation of them?
Yeah, the expectation of them, because I mean I read a lot about, sometimes it'll say if you can't be honest with your coach, like why are they your coach, basically.
Need to be coachable.
People won't always necessarily tell you. I mean, there's certain times I've not told you stuff I've eaten. Or like, just
to be honest,
that's how I am.
If you're like, just say for whatever, like you check in and something is not quite right, and you may not have told me or not have given me like the full picture, I would know anyway.
Yeah, but then there's times that I guess I have and things haven't moved. So, you know what I mean? I mean, like especially when we were prepping for the photo shoot, I was like on it completely on it, and sometimes the scales just weren't shifting, weren't they?
No, but that's, it's just the way it is. Like, even in like Ross's prep just now, he had a spout where his body weight was actually going up, but he was looking leaner. So you can't always rely on the scales to show like that given progress, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what would be the expectation of a client then when they start with you?
So number one, obviously you have to be coachable. You can't sign up with a coach and expect it to be like the coach is going to wave a magic wand and then but then you're not going to give 100%. Like, if you're signing up with a coach, they give you a plan, you go away and think, oh, do you know what, I can't actually be asked to do that, and only actually really give, say, like 60-70%, and then come the end of the week they're like, oh, scales haven't moved, blah, blah, this and that, and you're just like, well, have you stuck to the plan? Like, and they're like, no, I haven't, I've been over my calories, this and that. So it's like, don't come crying to me when things haven't, progressed, if you haven't been following the plan. Like, what is the point in signing up with a coach if you're not going to, follow what they're giving you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, I've had so many clients, like, it would shock you with how many clients I've had that sign up, have all the best intentions to, follow the plan, follow the training, everything, and they just, I don't know if they give up, or they thought it was some magic pill that you were gonna, give them, and you can tell straight away when they're not doing it, even if they're not being honest with you. So
as a coach, if they're not following it. And I think, what was I going to say? My mind is just completely gone. I was literally just about to add something there and my mind has just gone blank. Oh my God, it's gone.
So I guess what I would...
It'll come back to me.
I was meant to have baby brain.
I've got hunger brain.
Maybe what the bit, I guess I completely understand what you're both talking about. But then is it a coach's role to establish why they're unable to stick to that plan?
Yeah. And so this has actually reminded me now what I was going to say. I think, oh my God, has it gone again?
Oh my God, Alice.
You've just eaten as well. You've just fueled yourself.
No, so I think within the first week to potentially 2 weeks, you can get a good understanding as to whether this client is going to follow it through or not. Like, you kind of get a feel, like you kind of know. In the end of the day, the client has got to want to make the sacrifices and make the changes that's needed in order to get them where they want to get to. Like, do they actually, like, saying they want to do something and actually doing it is two different things. But
I didn't believe when I started that anyone would have had the belief in me then that I would have got to this point. Not when I started, not at £400.
Oh, not with me. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about me.
No, at £400, like when I started my proper job.
Why not? But why?
Because they wouldn't. They just wouldn't. And even I can honestly put my hand on my heart and say that even at the start, it was probably only a good few weeks in, I think, that even my coach at the time probably started backing me. I think we were on about week 6 and my check-in, they had gone down to the gym and picked up the volume of weight I'd lost in kilos. And on my check-in, they were like, have you actually understood like what you've actually done? I can't, because it just flew off me. Like, it literally just flew off me so fast. It was 9 weeks and I'd lost 3.5 stone. So just over 2 months, like it just, so I don't think, because I remember on my first sort of, when I signed up, I said I wanted to be thin for graduation, and that was 18 months, I think, from when I started to when graduation was. And I remember saying, like, is that possible? And they were wishy-washy around that, because I don't think even they believed I'd be at that point in a year and a half. It was only as time went on and how it, like, 8 stone in 9 months or whatever it was. But I think then it was a bit like, oh, maybe you can.
Yeah, I think it's just purely because you've never, like, the coach and the client, like in your instance, like that relationship, you've never had that experience of fat loss before, so the coach isn't necessarily going to know how quick or how slow the fat's going to come off. So I think
but I was saying that it'll happen quick. I knew that it would happen quick because my previous times I'd lost weight, it just does. As soon as I stick to a plan, of course it's going to fly off. If I'm 28 and a half stone, I'm probably supposed to eat like 5,000 calories a day. But if I'm then eating 1,500, of course the deficit I'm in, it's literally just gonna fly off me. So I knew that would happen, and I knew that would happen, but I don't think anybody else would. And even now, if people are honest, they probably can't believe that I'm even at this point.
Does that bother you?
No, I just wonder, as a coach, in terms of when people, I guess, sign up and you say within a few weeks you'll know if they will or they won't.
Yeah.
Like, well, how? Because people would have had that perception of me that I'm still here.
So if it's really hard to generalize it, but if somebody joins and they're like, yeah, I want to lose this and that, you give them a plan, obviously go through it with them, check in with them every other day, and they don't message you back, they just read your messages, don't check in, and then you'll get a message a few days later, like, oh, I'm really sorry, I forgot, kind of thing. I think it's the accountability. Like, some people, when they sign up and they expect you to just, I don't even know, like, they expect you to just wave a magic wand, like I said before. But like, if these people can't stick to a plan, or if they can't do a simple thing like checking in, they're not starting the journey off in the best, most optimal way. Like, you would have, when you started your plan, you had your mindset on losing X amount, or just losing in general. You gave 100%, didn't you?
Yeah, but I also then knew the boundaries of what it takes to lose weight. So if people have put weight on and they don't fully understand what actually has to happen to lose weight, then I guess, if, like, for me, online coaching is like a whole new world. I would just rock up to Slimming World once a week, have a weigh in and leave. Whereas online coaching, the expectation's a bit different.
Yeah,
I think,
because you don't have that you don't really have that face-to-face, do you?
well, even like the form, like actually doing a check-in isn't anything like rocking up to Slimming World. I just have to go at the end of my day. It's not out of my way. Whereas getting in a routine of filling out a form, taking pictures, taking my measurements, like, none of that happened. I didn't even have pictures. I just rocked up and left.
Yeah, it is like a huge lifestyle change. It is. And like I say, in the first few weeks of online coaching, it is probably going to feel a little bit alien, because you're trying to implement new habits and new routines that you've never done in your life before. So it is going to take time. But if people don't meet you halfway, and if people, you see that people aren't putting that effort in, you're almost like pissing against the wind as a coach. Like, there is only so much a coach can do.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I think if people can't put even the minimum in of doing a check-in form, then you're fighting a losing battle, because you don't know what else they're not adhering to, or they could be semi-adhering to but still eating that extra chocolate bar. But I totally get what Vicky's saying. At the start, an online form can be really daunting.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got a good enough coach and you explain that you feel it's a bit daunting, then someone should be like talking you through it, or being like, it's these types of questions, just be as honest as you can, not a good or bad answer, and we'll take it from there. So I think it's just different coaches should have I don't know, they have different approaches, but obviously it's finding one that suits you, really.
I guess because where I sort of sit in, I guess, my coaching is how what a bit like our conversation yesterday, Alice, regarding that photo shoot, and I had said, like, whoa, let's just take a minute, because I know how overwhelming that would be for the other person, but that's sort of where I come from in terms of like even online coaching, that what could be perceived, I'm playing devil's advocate here, what could be perceived as too much effort is just the fact that what is for a coach a minimum expectation and actually is easy to achieve, for somebody else, like we talk a lot about habit stacking now, and some people might not even know how to articulate to a coach that form is too much. They might not even understand themselves what the barrier is. So when someone isn't sticking to that plan, it's an assumption that we'll just stick to the plan. But
well, no, it's not quite like that. Like I've said to you before, like I'm very much, because we've spoken about boundaries and like where you should kind of not cross the line as a coach, this and that. But for me, I would want to delve into it a little bit more and obviously chat to the person and find out what is going wrong. Like I have even like outright asked them before, like, is this too much? And if they say like that, is giving them the opportunity to be open and honest. And if they say, yeah, it is too much, it's like, right, okay, just don't fill that in, but make sure that you do update your new body weight and this and that, just so I can see if we're heading in the right direction or not. Like there is ways about it. It's not just a case of, oh, they're not sticking to the plan, I'm not going to bother with them. Like we do delve into it a little bit more. But like you do get a feeling, you just do, after speaking to them. So does that make sense?
Yeah. What you say, Liz?
No, I'm just going to say that I totally agree with Alice. Like I'm one of those that would go and try and talk to them. They might not want to talk to you, so you can only try as much as possible as well, obviously with the boundaries as well. So and I, like Alice, I've asked, is this too much? We can strip it back. I mean, I've even offered to go to the gym just to build someone's confidence enough to then go on their own to do the same training program. Like I've done that just to try and break that for people. So I think obviously coaches have different approaches. So
what if I guess in terms of a coach then, where would the boundaries lie? How do you maintain? How do you maintain? I
think it's knowing, like, being unprofessional. I think you need to know the line where it comes to being professional and unprofessional, I think.
Yeah, I do agree. I absolutely agree. I think that naturally with some people you gel. You know, the fact are that we're friends and you're my coach. And do you know what? I will wholeheartedly say I give off some sort of pheromone, no matter who I meet. I absolutely do. No matter who I meet, in whatever setting that looks like I can just be at like a hairdresser's and suddenly they want to be my, not that I sound really big-headed, but I must give off something that people are attracted to. I just haven't quite pinpointed what it is because it needs to fucking stop. But
like when we were coaching and then when we were just started coaching, I think you were talking about starting Tamer up. Like this was right at the beginning. I was like, I'm going to go into business with this woman. Like I knew last year, like I knew. And like, look at us now. It's just naturally happened. But like I had a feeling that you and I were going to come together at some point.
One of the hardest reasons for me to leave my old coach, right, was because I remember telling Chantel, I was like, it just doesn't feel right. Like I had planned like voodoo shit, but something had told me, right, that I was gonna that I was going to like do a podcast was one of the things, and coaching was the other. And I knew like back then, and I thought that was with my old coach, which is why leaving was so hard, because I couldn't understand how all this stuff that was in my head was meant to happen without it. And then as time went on, it all just did. And Chantal literally said to me the other week, she was like, isn't that weird how things have panned out? I was like, isn't it just like, people won't believe shit like that. But do you believe in stuff like that, Liz?
Yeah, I think certain things happen for a reason, and I always try and believe it's for a positive reason. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the most positive person, like I'm really not. So it's something that I always need to work on. So I try my best to always think, oh, there's a better reason for it. Like, it might suck at the time, but
Everything like
be a lot positive.
Yeah. So if you've got a coach then that I guess you're not checking in, let's just say hypothetically that you've like let's say I'm the client and I've messaged and been like, I'm not checking in this week, like I can't, I've just got too much on.
Yeah.
Like is that okay? What if that happens frequently?
So when clients sign up, they know what the protocol is. And I always say, if you know a couple of days ahead of check-in day that you can't check in for X reason, let me know, and then we can just reschedule it. Like, it's not the end of the world, just as long as it is getting done, because it's the accountability. And I think as well, something else with clients, when they tell you when they're not checking in, it's like, I'm not checking in today because my weight hasn't moved. It's like, no, like, regardless of how your week has gone, you still need to check in.
Yeah,
Like,
I find that
so important. And it's just
I'm not that other client. No, not this week.
It's slightly different for you because you're in recovery, like post-op, like it is different. But like, yeah, it's
well, I guess for me right now, it's not feasible in terms of, we can't judge the scale weight, we can't judge my width or my measurements, and we can't judge pictures. Like, none of the points of measurement are going to be accurate. So rather than stressing myself out that I'm getting fat, I'd rather just eliminate that potential. So
the only thing we need to focus on now with you is making sure that you're getting that relationship back with your regular meals, getting all the good stuff in, getting your steps, drinking, and it's just all really focusing on your energy levels and how you're feeling in general. And then visuals are really important as well.
So I think that's like really important for me, because I think that was probably something that maybe I've missed, in that, I guess, so what we spoke about, the diet culture and my experiences of coaching, like everything's always been placed on something. So I guess I always used to place my mood on the scale or on the measurement or on the picture, because that's what I'm going to a coach. And if I've had a shit week, I know I'm going to have a shit feedback. So that's like what you'd expect, isn't it? Like, I've had a shit week, I'm going to get shit feedback.
Yeah, no, it's not the case at all. I think in the end of the day, I don't want to sound harsh, but like, if the client has decided to come off plan and have X, say have something else instead of what they should have really had, that's their decision, that's on them. And the only responsibility they have is to be honest with you at the weekend when they check in. It's like, yeah, I came off plan, I did this, but I've kind of learnt my lesson. It is what it is. And then the only thing we can do as a coach, like the last thing a coach should do is be like, that was bad, like that was really bad, like, and just be really negative about it. But as a coach, your responsibility is just to say, right, okay, this has happened, you've acknowledged it, it's time to just put it in the past and move on from it, and that's literally all I feel like you should do. Because I think because I've been on the receiving end from a coach who's, I've put up something on my story and then they've reacted to it with an angry face. Like, That's not a nice feeling.
Do you know what this has reminded me of? Once I checked in, and I think I was losing £4 consistently a week, and I had in my head whatever milestone it was, I can't remember, but I think it was like 9 stone, and I wanted to hit 9 stone, and that week I'd only lost £2, so I was still £2 off, and I was so arsey about it. And on my check-in video, they literally said, like, I want you to lose that £2, we're hitting the 9 stone this week. And the expectation was for me to do that. So then I always place, that's what I mean about I place, I guess, my worth on meeting someone else's expectation.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be like that at all.
Liz did not like that. Liz's face was like, oh no,
I've not got a filter, sorry. Whoops.
I feel like you should just, meet your own expectations to a certain degree. I think for a coach, your expectations for your client is that they're honest with you, they communicate with you, and they check in.
Yeah, basically. Like, I would rather someone check and said that they had a really bad week, they everything under the sun, because then you draw a line on it, you work together, and you move on. I would never belittle someone for not reaching a target or losing £2 instead of £4. Like, I would never do that.
I don't think, well, I'm gonna just be like devil's advocate. I don't think it was meant in a belittling manner. I think it was meant in an encouraging manner. But then when I reflect on that and actually think that I had said that I was pissed off that I hadn't reached 9 stone, it probably then as a coach should have been encouraged that my
what you've
food should have been determined by the scale. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe that should have been encouraged in the feedback in hindsight. But I don't think, I think it was more like a encouragement thing, like, let's do that this week then, please. Like, not belittling, but yeah. So would you say if someone, like, what would be, I guess, the red flags for people to watch out for?
So, like, I have a few. Again, it is just personal preference. It's just my own opinions, to be honest. I think when you go on to, like, if they have a business page, if they don't necessarily show much proof, like visual proof, and like how they have, like, conducted their self, like their life, and how do they kind of present themselves.
Oh, so this is interesting. Right, so if you've got an overweight personal trainer, would you then think that you should stay clear?
I know exactly who you're referring to right now.
I actually haven't referred to anybody.
Okay.
Well, now I'm intrigued to who you think I'm thinking about, because I have absolutely no idea.
I can't. I can't name names, but you wouldn't be inclined to go to that. I personally wouldn't.
No, I would.
Because you look at them and you think, "Fucking hell, what kind of lifestyle do you lead?"
But it doesn't mean they're always gonna, does it?
What
or what if, in the instance of, like, for Liz being pregnant, you go back into the gym, you're gonna have a postpartum belly. Of course you are. So absolutely. Then should people be judging Liz by what they're seeing? Might not even know she had a baby.
No.
Well, what's the difference then?
Because a male being overweight is not a postpartum belly, is it?
Well, it doesn't have to be a man. It can be a woman. Just anybody that's overweight.
I think if it's somebody...
I think I know who you're on about now.
Liz, we'll show you after this call.
You're going to have to, I feel like I need to know.
Yeah.
But no, like, for example, that person, you wouldn't look at them and think, oh, fucking hell, yeah. Like, to me, a coach is somebody that you aspire to be.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And, like, how much they've invested in themselves and their experience in the industry.
See, for me, a coach needs to be someone that's relatable.
Yeah,
that's
like you
the
can
biggest
gel.
thing. So I mean, that's like, I guess you've never been overweight in your life, so you wouldn't know wouldn't know what it was
I've
like.
been big. My last off season, I was on 4,000 higher end 4,000 calories. I was big.
Well, I wouldn't say big. I've never seen a picture of you looking big.
I've never seen her look big.
Wait, I will show you some photos.
Well, I think your definition of big and my definition of big, they're not going to align.
Well, no, but like this is big for me. Like for me,
Yeah.
Right,
And I think that if I saw a personal trainer in a gym who maybe had like a bit of that excess weight or whatever, it wouldn't put me off going with them. It wouldn't, because I would just think that they understood the challenges. They would understand what life is like being overweight. And I guess, like for you, your coach now, it's about competition. It's not about lifestyle as such, is it? Like your coach represents your absolute goals of where you want to be in competitive life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's also I like the relationship I have with her and how she mentors me in my own day-to-day personal life as well.
But that's only come with time. You didn't get that originally. Like there's something you aspired to, went to her as a coach because of how she looks and where she is in the industry.
Yeah, but I also I've learned so much from her, and like I can relate. I don't know, can I relate to her? Obviously she is like way ahead in like the coaching. Yeah. She's obviously like got years and years of experience on me, but like when it comes to coaching and stuff like that, anything that I'm like if I am struggling with anything or just want a second opinion, I can go to her. But yeah, like she's even said like we gel so well. And every like is one of the things, every time I load my check-in video up, instantly I'm like smiling because of how she like starts it, and it's just the relationship that we have is just fantastic.
I listened to one of their videos the other day. I didn't realize she was Scottish.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that voice to come out of that body, and I was like, whoa, what the hell?
she's really Scottish. Yeah,
I expected like I don't know, just a general, probably more southern accent. And then when she started speaking, I was like, fuck?
Scottish. Yeah, and she's only
I was like, oh,
well.
It's strange, isn't it? And it's weird how it's like whole perception of what somebody's going to sound like, and then we're like,
yeah. There's a woman that I met through like bodybuilding, and we talk occasionally. She's from Glasgow, and like whenever we voice note, she always says to me, she's like, every time she's like, I expect you to be Scottish, and you're totally not. Because obviously I live up here now, and I'm just totally not Scottish.
I really struggle. I struggle with Ross's videos sometimes. I have to really tune myself in.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm not very good with dialect. Like, honestly, my granny is Scottish, and we had, well, before when she was alive, we had this whole conversation about beads, like necklace beads.
Yeah.
And she was sat there going, Vicky, do you like beards? Beards. And I was like, beards? Like, for ages this went on. And me going, beards? What are you on about? Like, do I like beards? Why are you asking me that? And she was like, beards. But I just could not. The dialect thing. Even just Scottish, like any sort of like people abroad, ethnicities, I find it so hard to tune in. Massively hard.
To be honest, like there's some things the boys will say, and I'm like, what? And like I'll literally say, what? I'm like, sorry, what? Like, pardon? And he'll get really annoyed because he'll have to repeat himself, and then he say it again, and I'm like, it doesn't compute. It just like,
See, that would be a barrier for me looking at a coach. In terms of like, I find Scottish people talk really fast.
Yeah.
Liz is like, like, so yeah. I find that difficult if I can't. Obviously, it's a barrier in communication. If I can't understand what the coach is saying, then
yeah,
it's going to work, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's why you would book a consult call And that's why, like, I always do.
Okay, bye then.
End call.
Oh, sorry, the internet went down.
That's savage. But like, if I have voice notes from you, Vicky, I can speed them up. But if, say, like Liz, if you send me voice notes, and like Ross, I can't speed them up. I can't. Honestly, it's like
I have to slow down. I'm like, speak slower so she can understand me, and then it obviously doesn't work.
Well, I've not found you difficult to understand on here, so we're okay.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
When was it? I think we were having like a conversation when I was on the train the other week, and you sent me like this 8-minute voice note, and I was like, I can't speed this up. So I literally had to sit and listen to the whole thing. Because like, Vicky, if you send me really long voice notes, I can speed it up.
Yeah, mine's always on 1.5. I remember Chantel was like, why does everyone speak like that? And I was like, it's on fast.
You're the one who told me that you could do that. I didn't even know.
Ain't got time for that. Yeah, sometimes me and my friend Amy send really long voice notes. So I mean, I don't know if she speeds me up, but I speed her up.
Just to save time.
Yeah.
Gone on a right tangent there, haven't we?
Yeah, I was just thinking then you had said, I guess, things that annoy you when people like message about coaching and things. What are the annoyances for a coach about clients?
I say not current clients, obviously.
Could you imagine just slugging your cohort off on the podcast?
Clients to slag off, so it's fine.
That's it. Everyone's been Dallas off after this.
No, I think it's when like you get somebody message you and they're like, you know, I'm struggling with this and this and this. This is what I want to do. Please, can you help me? Can I have some more information? So you take the time out, you briefly, you know, touch on what you can do for them. And then you're like, let's book a call and let's have a chat about it. They'll read the message, not reply. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, so I leave it a day, see if they've replied. No, go back and just check in and just see if everything's okay. Read your message, not reply. And that's it. So you've got that occasion. You've also got the ones that will message and be like super, super keen. And then they'll be like, oh, and how much is it? And then you tell them how much. And then they'll be like, it's out my budget. And that's that. Yeah. Or they'll see how much you're charging and then again just ghost you, just not reply. Mad.
Yeah, I think I actually had a rant at Alice about that because I have the same one person messages me every 6 months, literally asks the exact same thing, tells me the exact same thing. As soon as I go, right, we can phone, have a chat about this, completely ghosts. But it's more annoying because obviously it takes out of our time.
Yeah.
And I know that she does it. Like, I know she does it. So I changed it slightly this time. I was like, actually, I'm not taking anybody on right now. I'm pregnant. But I can forward you to someone else. And it kind of stumbled there a little bit. So it was a bit of a mean thing, but I was like, no, you do this every 6 months. So I'm not doing it anymore. It's taken my time and it's the exact same answer because I've actually kept the whole conversation and it goes back like 2-3 years. So I'm like, the answers aren't going to change. Sorry.
Vicky, do you think there is some sort of like psychology like behind that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? People find it daunting.
So I think part of my role that I'm in now is not always so we have like a scale of activation, if you like. So there's people that are activated and then people that are not activated, and then somewhere in the middle you have like pre-contemplation where they think yeah, maybe I should do something, and then you get contemplation. So pre-contemplation is like before the action of contemplating, so it's like they think about it, then they message you, that's the contemplation stage. And then to move people to activation, I guess there's a bit of work. Essentially, it's a bit of work that needs to be done around establishing they're wise, because when people are in contemplation, essentially what we do in our minds is we weigh up the pros and cons of that. Well, it's expensive. Do I have time? I've got to take the kids to school, blah, blah, blah. And we create the list, the narratives. And actually, most of the time when we're in that stage, if this is always backwards, but one's going to outweigh the other. When we do it on the screen, last time I was doing it, it was all backwards. But one's always going to outweigh the other. So I guess as a coach, part of that could be in those conversations about being curious to the person. Oh, so what is it that, I guess, you know, we've had this conversation several times over the last few years. What is it that the barrier that's stopping you moving forward? And sort of open that scope up for them to be able to have that conversation, because often we're having that in our minds. Or we might say to our partner, yeah, well, we can't afford it, can we? And they'll go, nah, should we go and order Domino's? And rather than having someone that's, I guess, not biased in that conversation, someone that's objective, that's what I'm looking for, objective, to be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely, finances are really difficult right now, I completely understand where you're coming from. So like, talk me through, I guess, like where things are going right now, like how many takeaways do you have a month, or, you know, how much alcohol you're drinking? Because if you think about it like that, and then they'll say, well, yeah, I probably have one takeaway a week, which, you know, 20 quid a takeaway, 80 quid a month. And then they might be saying, well, I have like 5 bottles of wine a week, 5 a bottle of wine, 25 quid. There's £180. But you have to allow people to get them answers themselves, but they need someone to navigate that with.
Yeah.
So I guess, and yes, it probably falls outside the scope of a coach, but equally, that's the difference between someone joining and not joining, is them having the narrative in their head and how that's explored.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I do think that's why, like, it's best just to get them on a call, because then you can actually discuss it. Like, I've not had a consult call that's lasted like below an hour.
But then I guess the difficulty with them people that never message you back is that they'll also have the narrative, well, I'm never going to afford it, I won't waste the time.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, people do value other people's time. I think that's one commodity that, I guess, more so after COVID and the time we got to spend with our families and things, that people value time a lot more now than they probably ever did, and where that time goes. And equally, as a coach, they'll value yours. So they won't want to jump on an hour Zoom call if they know absolutely I'm never going to afford that amount a month. So it's, I don't know, it's how you negotiate that conversation. And I would just be curious. I think curiosity is one of the biggest things that we all have the ability to do, but no one does. Everything's always black and white. Yes, no. Like, it's not, oh, so tell me why. The open-ended questions. Do you want to join my coaching? Well, I'm not going to answer that because I don't know how. I don't know how to not be rude. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But saying, oh, I can see you've not replied, and that's absolutely fine. I was just wondering if you want to have a conversation around what the barriers are right now, and open that dialogue up in a more friendly manner. You know?
There's that. And I think, like, I always say, like, if people can't afford it or whatever, I'm like, well, that's fine. You know, I am always here if you like need anything, just if you want help with anything, like, it's there. And like, people who say they come back and they're like, oh, it's not the right time right now, but, you know, it might be in the next few months kind of thing. You know, I still message them and I still check in and just ask how they're getting on. Like, there's a woman who came to me just before Christmas and she was like, I really want to join. And we were voice noting forward and backwards. And then it got to, what did she say? Because she was like, I'll join in the new year. And I was like, that's absolutely fine. And then we spoke a little bit over Christmas, and then New Year's came and she was like, I actually can't afford it right now, this and that. And I was like, it's absolutely fine. She was like, in the next few months I might be able to. So and like, we've been talking like probably 3 times a week since. And she's like focusing on getting a driving test passed, and then, you know, once that's done, she's going to be in a position to afford coaching. But she's doing everything she can right now, and I'm giving her tips here and there. So, you know, it's not a case of if people can't afford it or whatever, I just cut them off completely. But like there's only so many times you can go back and message somebody, and if they just keep ignoring you, like how many times can you do that before it's like
a pushy sale? I agree.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
because
I'm not a pushy person.
it'd be a red flag for me if I inquired about someone's coaching and then like I get a message a few days later like, say, do you want to join coaching then? Or like a few days after that, blah blah blah. Like that's a red flag to me, to be like, whoa, because I don't like the sleazy car salesman, so I don't like the sleazy PT.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too much. So it's just knowing, like, again, like you get a vibe from these people and you kind of know if you can go back and check in on them. And like there's been times where I've gone back and checked in on somebody and they've just ignored me, so I think, right, okay, that's, you know, that's a signal that they don't want to know, kind of thing, and then you just write it off. So there is ways around it. But again, it's like not being too full on. I'm not too full on anyway as a person, so I would never push that on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What?
It's just I guess the fact that you had to justify who. I was just about thinking in my head, every time someone ghosts you or ghosts Liz, how does that impact you in terms of your worth? And then in my head, then you felt the need to justify yourself as a person in terms of this whole conversation. But I'm not actually like that. Like blah blah blah. That's like a reflection of worth, isn't it?
So what is that? That's just me as a person, isn't it?
I mean, I don't feel like the podcast is a place to psychoanalyze you as a person. No, that's not fair. You're a very, very good coach.
I know I am.
Absolutely. You are not pushy as a person whatsoever.
No.
So,
and I feel like I've heard stories about, oh my God, so there's this woman who is, to be honest, Liz, you might know her. I think
I'll be out of the loop this time.
I think she is Glasgow way, but one of my PT clients told me about her a couple of weeks ago. And she was like, oh my God, do you know who this PT is, this coach? I was like, never heard of her. But there's a couple of the women up here that follow her and stuff and have gone to her in the past. So she will add people and then she'll message them and be like, oh, you're looking for a coach, you're looking for a PT.
Yeah.
Do you know who, you might know who I mean?
I have people do that to me all the time though, and then they follow me and then they unfollow me.
Yeah, this is what this woman does.
Oh.
And then like if you are one of her clients or whatever, and she like bombards you with messages about like, oh, you have to post everything on social media and this and that, like I have to be tagged in everything. And like to me, like that is a lot. And I think as a client, like when you talk about expectations and things like that, especially if you're fairly new, if you've got that expectation from your coach thinking, oh shit, I need to post everything I do because my coach is asking me to. Like,
so do you view, Liz must agree that's a lot. I absolutely agree that is a lot, by the way.
That's too much. It's too much. Yeah. It's too much.
So do you view that as that she, I mean, I don't know this woman personally, so if we all take a step back, and pretend we don't know her personally.
I know of her and I've heard of stories, but I then got a friend request on Facebook from this person.
Did you accept?
I felt like messaging her and being like, oh, do you need a coach?
So do you think that comes from a place of wanting the publicity, sort of that ego-fueled part of the coach to want to put their name out there and to be the biggest and the best? Or do you think that comes from a place of making sure the clients are accountable at all times because they're posting their journey?
I don't think it's to do with accountability. I literally think it's to do with a coach. It's to do with a coach wanting people to see like them on Instagram, or you know, oh, like he or she is everywhere.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not accountability thing at all. It's trying to get the most amount of people to shove the same name out there and hopefully bring like work in. So it's not accountability at all.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that would be a big red flag in terms of if you
Yes.
were
Huge.
Yeah, because then you would question the what is the word? I was going to use the word
authenticity.
That's
yeah,
the word, yeah.
of the coach. Like, are they just doing this to get results and, you know, to make themselves look good on social media, with not necessarily taking into account the psychological effects it's going to have on that person, i.e. 8-week challenges? Do they just beast these clients for 8 weeks, get them looking really shredded so it looks good on their feed? Those clients go away after 8 weeks, they get no kind of follow-up plan or anything. They go away with psychological issues, and they've not really got, the coach hasn't really, like, they've got no necessary, like, there's no care for that. It's just all about getting results and making themselves look good on social media.
So then I guess my question would be around what qualities a coach should have then.
I think it's just person dependent, isn't it? I think everybody has their own view of being a coach, and I think that is personally down to how they've been coached.
Yeah, well, I think I've learned the best and worst of coaching.
You've literally had both spectrums, like both ends.
I was just thinking about, like, congruence, I guess, is a big thing for me.
What's that?
Certainly, like, in my job interview that I've just had, they asked me how I build rapport with sort of like families, how I sort of maintain those relationships. And I said, well, I just do. Like, I show up as me. There is no facade, there is no barrier, there is none of that. So what they see is what they get, and what I say is aligned with who I am, and that creates congruence. So I'm congruent with who I am. Does that make sense? So I guess for me, one of the traits in coaching, I think that people have to sort of possess, is a level of empathy. And with empathy, when a coach says, like, I think one of my biggest bugbears I've learned recently is when a coach says,
oh my God, it's me.
They're not responsible for your feelings.
Oh my God, that's not me, thank God.
So if a coach has done something, so let's say that you had said, I don't know, let's say you had said something to me that has upset me, and the coach would say, well, I'm not responsible for your feelings. But that's like saying, I was driving a car and I hit a child, I broke their arm, but I'm not responsible for their feelings around the broken arm. I'm sorry about my action of hitting them, but I'm not sorry for your feelings. Like that.
That's naughty.
How can you have empathy and behave that way? And empathy is like a key trait of a coach. Surely you have to understand people in order to coach them.
Absolutely. So
that's been a big thing for me. And I guess when people are saying, like, you know, you have to take responsibility in coaching, you know, you absolutely, as a client, have to take responsibility for your actions. Then as a coach that then says, I'm not responsible for your feelings, well, where's your responsibility towards people's actions?
Yeah.
Towards your actions that have created that? Like, it fucking blows my mind. And it blows my mind that people believe that is true. That believe that is a way of being, to be like, oh, it's okay, well, I can sit here and say, Alice, like, you've behaved like appallingly, and actually, you know, that's like, do you know what it's like? Me sleeping with Ross and saying, I'm sorry you're upset, Alice, but that's not my fault.
Yeah.
Like, I slept with Ross. Like, I don't.
And I think it's like, coaching is such a privileged position, and a lot of people abuse it.
Yeah.
I think.
I completely agree that I think coaching is a massively privileged position, and I think that
absolutely
you have people's lives, whether you realize it or not, in your hands, and you don't always understand the vulnerable state of people. And equally, coaching now, there's a lot of PTs that go down the mental health route, which I think there's a massive distinction between mindset and mental health anyway, because
Yeah.
what a lot of them talk about is mental health, and it's fucking not. Mental health is a whole different ball game, and often you can give someone all the mindset tools and the habit stacking and all those things that they do, but someone's mental health
You're
can
able
still
to get
dip.
perfection, no.
They're not the same thing.
No,
So,
absolutely.
I think it's really interesting how coaches, I guess, need to navigate that and where the morality lies within that.
And I think as well, as a coach, how you act is going to impact your client as well. I think.
Should it though? Should it impact your client?
Definitely.
Well, I guess like if you're in a shitty mood or whatever, you do a client's check-in and that kind of bleeds into the client's check-in. That's not going to make the client feel great, is it?
Yeah. Or even like if you're doing a client like one-to-one, if you rock up with a shitty attitude, then it's going to rub off on them. So
yeah, it's going to make them feel like twice as worse. Like if your coach is making you feel like that, then that's like.
But as a coach, you're going to have difficult days. Like, of course, you're going to PT someone in the gym and be having a shitty day. And of course, Liz is going to PT someone. And that's part of a healthy being. Like, nobody is happy all the time. Nobody's like, woo, all the time.
Yeah, but
you are allowed to have Mardy days.
Yeah, but when you're in a professional setting, you do need to try and leave.
Yeah, you put a face on it. You put a professional face on it. You leave
try and leave personal at home.
You leave your personal at home and you do your work face, and then afterwards you can switch back. So for that hour of time you dedicate to that client, then you do be professional.
Yeah.
I think it's different in the gym, and then I guess in my role, in my sort of coaching, I would never show up to a one-to-one session being like, I've had a shit day. I wouldn't. But equally, it's important for me to reflect that it's okay to not have good days. It doesn't mean that everything is ruined. So as part of mindset coaching, of course, like, I have I guess what used to be a bad day is now a bad hour or a bad 10 minutes. It doesn't last as long, but it's important for me to reflect that. Whereas if I was actually having a one-to-one call with someone, I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, I don't want to do this, it's just too much to do. Like, I wouldn't do that. But I do fully understand what you're both saying. There has to be like a level of professionalism.
Yeah. Because just by you being upbeat and positive could have a huge impact, in a good way, your client. And I think as well, if your client is checking in and they're like, oh, I've had a really shit week, but I stayed on plan for 80% of it, this and that, and then you just reassure them that that's not actually a bad week. This is what a bad week would be. So in hindsight, you should be really proud of yourself.
Alice, I had a Domino's last night. But I tell you what, though, I purposely chose I just fancied pizza. I had a small one, and I chose the thinnest crust to have the minimum.
Oh, that's my favourite.
So I was very considerate about my choices within the pizza. So I didn't just go and buy a large pizza and scuff it because, but I would feel really shit. Yeah, and I would, and I'd have to eat it as well. I can't leave the food. So even if I wasn't hungry, at some point I'd have to eat all that pizza. So I just bought a small one and a thinner crust and made good choices.
That is literally part of a healthy lifestyle. Knowing you can have a pizza, but not kick the arse out of it. Have a pizza, have a portion that you're going to enjoy, and something that's not going to make you feel shit for the next 2-3 days.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about balance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just thinking about the time. Is there anything else that you both want to, I know I just literally looked. Is there anything else that you both want to explore, or any of you?
The only thing I probably want to just say is, and maybe you two can chip in with this as well, is when people are on the lookout for a coach, what to look out for, and don't just jump ships just because
we've established not a man, not someone that's an overweight, not someone that messages you on Instagram asking for a gauge.
Yeah,
Established absolutely not what like people we don't want. Anyway, carry on.
exactly. So I think just going off personal experience as well, just like not jumping ship just because of, you know, how popular they might be, or I don't know, just because they own a gym, does that necessarily make them the best coach for you? So I do think, you know, really looking into that person, like if you find somebody like, oh, do you know what, you know, this could be my potential coach, look into them, you know, speak to some of their current clients and find out how they are as a coach. What experience have they got? You know, what courses have they done? How do they push themselves in their own personal lives? I think the biggest thing for me as well is, if like I'm talking a coach when it comes to like bodybuilding and competitiveness and not like lifestyle, I think there is a certain separation between the two, because I think if you're, for me, for example, looking into a coach, and you know, I wouldn't go with a coach that's not necessarily pushing themselves to be the best. So I think that is a really good quality for a coach to have. And I think looking at how they have personally pushed themselves, like what limits they've gone to, like, and this then reverts back to the relatability. No, that's not it. Being relatable.
I don't know what being relatable,
yeah, so being relatable to the coach, like, do your goals align with kind of like theirs or what they have achieved previously? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What
about you, Liz?
Is she frozen?
Yeah. Is it? Oh, it's all right. It's not my internet then. It must be Liz's internet. It keeps dropping out.
Yeah. Are you there, Liz?
Because this is a very fetching face. Oh, bless her.
Liz.
Oh, maybe not. I think for me, in both my coaching experiences, the first one, I thought that was the only one that ever existed. So I didn't do any research whatsoever, really, other than
I was very similar. She's
what,
back.
What happened here? It was like we were slowly speaking about like a gerbil, and I was like, "What's going on here?"
Liz is back in the room.
There's a bit where Alice is going, Liz.
Literally, I could not hear you. You started talking about a gerbil, and then it froze. Like I was actually slowly watching Vicky's eyes flicker, and I was like,
"Oh, that's nice."
Technical issue.
In my both experience of coaching, the first one I didn't know any other coach existed, and I just rolled with it. And with you, it just was a competition. Like, and then I just joined. So I'm not the best person to say about researching or any of those things, because I just wing life quite clearly.
Yeah. What about you, Liz?
Yeah.
I've had quite a few coaches. The things that I kind of look for are like obviously their experience, how they present themselves, how they go after their goals. It's not always been what, like, I don't know how, like maybe how we got on kind of thing. And that's maybe why I've clashed with quite a few of them. Like our personalities are totally different, and you know, they're more of a certain bodybuilding or whatever. So yeah, I just want someone that's relatable and has got experience as well. Like I do not want a new PT plastering one program that works for everyone kind of approach, because I'm like, that does not work, pal. Sorry. So I want someone that takes the job seriously as well and is actually there for you, because I'm there all the time for clients and it's never ending. So I would want that for me as well, just for that safety net. Like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and yeah, I know what I should be doing, but I'm also a human being that can also make very good excuses. So I want someone that will be you know, there as a safety net and be like, come on, dipshit, you know what you're doing.
Just that accountability, isn't it? And I think obviously coaches need coaches too.
That's really important to me.
I can never.
What I think I've learned most is that I want a coach that will be ever learning. So like I say, like curiosity is a valuable commodity to me. And I think that if I was with a coach who then thought they knew it all, or I guess when, you know, if people have been in coaching for like 15, 20 years, 25 years, and they have a way of coaching, I would want someone that is curious about the new techniques, the new ways of coaching, because obviously no one says that doesn't work. Absolutely, it worked for a time, but that doesn't always mean that's the best way now, because things change.
So many new ways to do things nowadays, and that's like how the relationship with my previous coach was like yeah, he was in the industry for a very, very long time, but there is like a new era now. There's like a new way, there's better ways to do things. I guess it's like if you've spent X amount of years having a set protocol and it's worked, why would they want to go and then learn new things? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's where I think I value somebody that wants to learn and grow and explore different things, because I guess what I've learned about myself is that I think I don't know if I said it on the podcast about being a teacher and a learner, that I value both parts in that, and that's the same as a coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want a coach to teach me, but I also like to bring something to the table, and then equally I want the coach to be learning and teaching. They're teaching me, but they need to be learning from somewhere. Like there has to be that constant stream and movement, and I think that's how human beings flourish and grow. So if they're just stuck in their way, that's not okay for me.
Well, I think because of the industry that we're in, like it's constantly changing, so if you've not really done anything to develop your learning, you're probably like so far behind you don't even realize it. Especially even just like looking at online training, like it's absolutely insane out there. But if you've not, you know, kept yourself up to date with like the simplest things, then you're going to be so far behind, and you're not actually going to be like what clients are looking for, and that's ultimately your fault, not the client's fault. So I think,
well, it's if the client even knows though, isn't it? If
yeah,
the client knows no
exactly.
different, like they just go in thinking that that's normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think you definitely need to always try and develop yourself just to keep yourself going as well.
Yeah.
Or even like how we prepped for a photo shoot, and now I've got a few friends doing photo shoots with various different coaches. Like some of them don't even know their macros, and I find it mental.
Yeah, I find that mind-boggling. Like so many people don't know, and I'm like, how do you not know? Like it's like
literally a basic.
How can you manipulate? I guess as we got closer, obviously we reduced carbs, didn't we? Or did the carb cycling to get the body to look a certain way. How can you manipulate what your output is if you don't even know what you were on to start with?
Honestly, it's mad, because like for females especially, like they need a set amount of fat as well for like your hormonal parts, and like carbs, like yes, you do need carbs for your brain energy and bits and bobs like that, but you know, everything serves a purpose. Like protein serves a purpose, fat serves a purpose, and so does your carbs. But like when it comes to like contest prep and photo shoot prep, like every prep is going to be different. So like how you prepped for your photo shoot last year, how we're going to do things this year is going to be completely different, because you're in a totally different position now. So but yeah, but like them not knowing their macros is just mad, because they're just like, oh yeah, I've got this amount of calories, and they're probably just going to eat a shit ton of carbs, hardly any fat, any proteins, and I would probably suggest that they would be on like the fats would be high, but it would be like saturated fats. It's not going to be like the healthier fats that you need. So knowing your macro split is so important.
Wow, there we go. We have explored coaching.
How long is that? Look how dark it is.
I know, I was just thinking that.
I just put my UV lamp on.
Everything has gone dark.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Liz.
No
thank
problem.
you.
I've had the kids hovering behind me and I'm like, be quiet.
Oh, bless.
Chaos has been left for me. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know you said you weren't doing coaching now, obviously with baby, but I assume you're planning on to after the birth, are you?
Yeah, definitely, because we've finished obviously building the home gym that I used to use before I moved. So we're finishing that. We're actually in the middle of kind of, it's like a business idea kind of thing that me and Chris are working on. So we're going to do that and then try and get up and running again when I'm on maternity leave, so that I don't have to go back to my normal job for full time.
Well, we'll put like a link to your Instagram in our show notes.
Thank you. Yes. Well, yeah, we'll get there. It's just I cannot do that while so pregnant. It's just not going to work.
Just enjoy the time of, I want to say relaxing, but you're probably not relaxing. But you know what I mean.
If you'd phoned me like 2 hours ago, I was in the middle of ripping our kitchen apart. So the nesting has completely kicked in, and I'm like, yeah, I've got like 3 hours to sort it before Chris comes in. So
sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it actually. So thank you for inviting me along.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So what will we cover on our next one?
Do you know, we need to have a little chin wag about that. I've got a few ideas.
Okay, we'll have a chat.
Yeah, we'll have a little chin wag, and then we'll discuss the times of them.
Yeah, of course we will.
Because next weekend it's your birthday weekend, and the weekend after I'm away, aren't we? So we can't record on the weekends.
Yeah, but we are a week in advance, guys. So
just saying, we're on it. Yeah,
we are on it. So yes, Tuesday is my birthday, and I will be 28. Road to 30.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I hit 30 how shit it is.
How old are you now? 29?
Yeah,
30 this year. The depression has started.
You two are making me feel so old. I'm like 32 and I'm like, it's not that bad, guys. You're okay.
My hair life starts when you're 30.
I've just got to break through the threshold, isn't it? It's just like the absence of my youth is ever dwindling.
Oh, Vicky.
Oh dear. And when you go to work now and you're like one of the older ones there, you're just like, oh, I think, when did this happen?
I know how that feels.
Right, well, until next week then, guys.
Until next week, I'm in the darkness again.
Yeah, I'm in like darkness and can't see kids' heads.
Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.